Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So first off, obviously I just want to wish everyone, a Merry Christmas. It is the 25th, so hopefully you guys are enjoying this, this holiday with a little bit of weather peace and whatnot. Hopefully it's not too disturbing. For my area, it's cold, but it's beautiful weather in terms of no real significant impacts. But as you can tell by the title, we will be looking at a incredible storm system, actually a series of storm systems. I was kind of pondering how should I title this? Should I talk about the different storms, just one storm? And I think I'll just summarize the next few, I guess, weeks as best as I can in this video. I'll try also keeping it relatively shorter. But yes, I mean, an incredible onslaught of snow and rain will be coming in off the Pacific Ocean. I mean, something that we haven't really seen in a while. And while this may seem, obviously bad with the impact, short term wise, yes. Long term, this could be a really, really, really good beneficial event for a good portion of the western United States. The amount of precipitation that could fall across areas, we all heard about the really low reservoirs and whatnot. It could really help out quite a bit these areas, if not really put a significant dent. I mean, and it's incredible. I'll just show you. From a meteorological standpoint, it's incredible. So right now, we do have a few things of concern. We have a clipper across the Midwest that is making its way. We'll be dropping snow, so don't get caught off guard by that. I'll be obviously discussing that region by region. So, let's start off with the Northwestern United States. Again, as in with all my videos, especially, since this past month, I divide them into regions. So if you live across the Northwest, go to the scroll bar and click on the Northwest. South Central United States, click on the South Central, and etc. So you don't have to watch a 20-minute video or however long this video will be about other regions. So let's start off, as I was saying, about the Northwestern United States. This is an area that will be profoundly impacted by the incoming winter storms. So notice that we have one basically it's going to be coming in the next few hours. So it's already impacting portions of southwestern Canada. We're in the forms of mainly snow and rain. Obviously rain for the lower elevations, the coastal areas, heavy snow inland, and you can see that by tomorrow this thing moves into Washington. Oregon comes in several waves. So again, the timing is a little bit particular. Look at that thing, 968 millibars, a very, very, very powerful winter storm. I mean, winter storm, rainstorm, depending on where you live, right? Obviously, there will be plenty of snow for the high elevations, plenty of rain for the lower elevations. Seattle, Portland, Sacramento, San Francisco, you guys are all going to be seeing incredible amounts of rain, potentially flooding. You can see the Bitterroots right here across Idaho, potentially seeing lots of snowfall, Cascades into southern Alberta, British Columbia, Calgary, you're going to see some snow out of this, and this you can see spreads into Montana. I mean, there's just so much going on. I unfortunately can't do this too slowly without, running out of words to speak, because I can only say so much. But notice that as we get, let me just play this very, very slowly into Wednesday. This is late Tuesday into Wednesday. The system makes landfall. Again, some areas will start off as rain, but then transition over to cold air. As out ahead of this storm, there is really not that much cold air across these areas. And now you may be wondering, what? You live across the Midwest. Maybe you're watching this section, or even if you live across Montana, it's been very cold. And yes, that's right. But the amount of warm air that will be pumped in and is being pumped in out ahead of the system is impressive. So a lot of these areas, even the mountains, will start off as rain and then converting into snow. A lot of cold air is left in the wake of this system. So for the next one, yes. So while that one was incredible, right, ending by late Wednesday into early Thursday, you could still see it's going on across Wyoming, Colorado, Utah. By the time we have this new monster coming in, and not as significant, but you'll see the precip from it is also significant. A lot more snow out of this one because, well, simply we have a lot more cold air in the wake of this second one that brought in that cold air. And look at that. I mean, more snow, more heavy rain, incredible amounts of precipitation, and this doesn't stop. Notice on Saturday, December 31st, we have a system across further south here, but look, this thing continues, right? We have another onslaught a week from today, Monday, January 3rd, and another one. So I don't know what that is at that point. Storm 4, 5, this is 6. We do see some sort of a break towards a long range, maybe towards the 9th, 10th. But again, whether or not that's going to be just a slowdown in the incredible activity, is it going to be a complete stop? We don't know. It's going to be an interesting little pattern, to say the least, for the next week and a half here. 2 weeks, I would say, for the Northwest. Total amounts of precip, I mean, we could see rainfall accumulations potentially even over a foot of rain across some of these areas. Obviously, the snow mountains will be seeing tons of snow with this. Do note Montana, depending on how this unfolds, you may get kind of missed out on this. So not everyone will be, unfortunately, impacted by this. I say unfortunately because most of these areas need some precipitation and good snowpack. Total snowfall is obviously going to be off the charts in some of these areas. I mean, literally off the charts. You can see 75, 40. This only goes up to 48 inches. So a lot of these areas just peak at that. Bitterroot seeing a lot. Northern Idaho, Cascades getting slammed. Good portions of Wyoming, Idaho. Again, unfortunately, Montana, with some of these model runs, looks like it might get missed again. You can see it kind of switches based on the hour. But regardless of which model run you look at, it's the lower area of the snowfall total. So that's going to be something we have to watch for. Again, this is the GFS, but I'm confident in this pattern. I could show you the European. There's obviously some differences in track of the individual storms, but I'm not here to go into the precise details because, as I said, the Western U.S. Forecasting of weather is a nightmare because of all the valleys and whatnot, all the little pockets of cold air that can get trapped. So, obviously the National Weather Service is going to be left for that to do its best work and for you guys to read up. So go to weather.gov and click on your area and choose the details because I'm just here to tell you, get ready because it's going to be storm after storm no matter what model you look at. You could see the European also very excited about those precipitation totals. Again, many areas potentially getting well over a foot of rainfall, and in terms of the snowfall, obviously pretty incredible amounts as well across a good portion of the Northwest. So obviously the GFS does have a little bit more compared to the European. Again, which one will be right, we'll have to wait and see. Regardless, it looks like a pretty big doozy of snow for you guys there. Again, I would say that honestly the amount of snow that falls is still a little bit less impressive considering the amount of storms that will be hitting, and that's because again that first one that's coming in today, the 26th, and ending on the 30th, that one will be limited in cold air, so a lot of that will fall as rain. Still, not bad, but you would prefer snow for the higher elevations. There will be some snow, except, again, not as much. Let's now look on to the southwestern United States, another region that will be absolutely clobbered by these storms, one after the other. Right now, Sunday into Monday, your last little days of peace, and even Monday, you can see across Northern California, it starts really filling in with activity. For the most part, though, you can see it comes in on Tuesday. Very heavy rain across Northern California. Again, notice the Sierra Nevada are very limited in snowfall. There will be several areas that get 30, 40 inches because of just the sheer amount of precipitation that comes in, but they're going to be the highest peaks. And you can see that as the system progresses, more of that snow spreads to lower elevations. Nevada, Utah, the Wasatch, and you can see this thing brings tons of snow into Arizona, into New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming. So that's splendid news. And you can see this doesn't stop. By Friday the 30th, we have another storm coming in. More snow, more rain for the lower elevation areas. And then look at this. The GFS shows an incredible storm here on New Year's Eve coming in across the Central Sierra in through Nevada. Tons of snow, record rainfall potentially across the south. So just, again, an incredible record-breaking pattern for the western United States. You can see there's more and more cold air left in each storm's wake. So by the time, we have systems rolling in early January, they have tons of more snow with them compared to the first one we're looking at, where just the peaks will be seeing snow. And again, that first one is really going to be beginning tomorrow. So notice Nevada picking up snow, getting awfully close to Las Vegas there, that snowfall there. Obviously, whether or not you'll see some, probably not. I mean, the temperature anomalies have to be really cold in order for that to happen. It's going to be chilly. I don't think it's going to be that cold, but do note snow across much of Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and again into Colorado, and this thing continues. Again, obviously, once we get past hour 240, things get a bit iffy. There does look to be a pattern slowdown, and I would expect that because the amount of precipitation that will fall within this time, especially across the mountains right here where it soaks out all that rain, could easily get towards, in terms of liquid precip equivalent, a foot and a half. So obviously in terms of snowfall, this is, incredible amounts, potentially 150 inches if a forecast like this comes true. But you can see Nevada gets clobbered by this, northern Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Arizona, New Mexico. Every state gets some good precip out of this. So that is great news. Again, there will be obviously impacts from this. You can see the National Weather Service warning these areas not only of strong winds with any one of these systems coming in that strong, but obviously, let's take a look at Oroville, right? So that's a massive dam across California, massive lake. You could see heavy rain. So it's lower elevated areas, you're not going to see snow, but 1 to 2 inches of rain. I assume these are also probably going to have similar amounts each day. So flooding is obviously a concern. That's why they have hydrologic issues out, and obviously dense fog, flood, high winds. And then, of course, the storm. Again, the first system for the amount of precipitation that will be coming in, the amount of snow that falls is rather not that impressive. So obviously, tons of rain, right? But if I could show you the snowfall, but it's kind of cut off here. Oh, there we go. You can see 12 to 18, 24 to 30. That's not incredible, but again, it's more of just storm after storm. And then later on, storms will have more precipitation with them. So great news for the Southwest. Let's move on to the North Central United States. Now, for you guys, this pattern is going to bring snow and rain, but again, it's not going to be these massive winter storms. They're going to be storms, obviously, but a lot of it's going to be very rainy. And you can see that right now we are stuck in cold weather. We do have a clipper system moving through the Midwest. It is very cold, but that pattern quickly changes. As early as Tuesday, we see very warm air getting pumped in from this high pressure. The winds turn in from the south and east. We go from record cold to potentially, I wouldn't say record warmth, but getting there. I mean, it could be 50s across areas that were negative during the day just a few days ago. And you can see 2-meter temperature shaded, so Fahrenheit. Again, you're not going to see 70s, right? This is the winter, but you can see 50s, 60s, central Missouri. Honestly, as much as I like winter, this is going to feel kind of nice. Some 50s on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Obviously, if you're a snow lover, this isn't the best news for you guys here. But notice the North Central United States still staying obviously cold, so there won't be like all rain for everyone. Again, because of the lack of contrast of the temperature, there's no real baroclinic zones for these systems to spawn into these monsters that we've been seeing. So while they will be monsters across the west, moving in from the Pacific, across the North Central United States, I don't want to deceive anyone. These systems won't be anything that are really, for the books or anything like that. There will be snow. Some in areas, it could be very heavy snow across the Dakotas, Minnesota. Some very heavy rain, especially where the grounds are still frozen. This rain, you can see, could train for several days across several areas. That's obviously not good, but with how warm it will be getting, I'm assuming that will quickly absorb. If you look at the drought map also of the United States, there are many areas that are dry. So honestly, such wide precip isn't really bad. It's nice and saturating the fields for the spring. Obviously, snow would be better, as that would melt right before spring. But again, this is December, late December. We are nowhere close being done with winter, and obviously, I think the worst is still ahead of us in terms of the winter for a majority of the United States, obviously including this area. But do know a lot of rain will be moving in here. Again, not everyone will be seeing snow or rain, and that depends on each system. You can see here's another one that gets introduced on potentially next week, Monday. The Dakotas see a lot, Nebraska into Minnesota, maybe Minneapolis, maybe Wisconsin, depending on the exact track of this. Notice though, it's not strong. 108 millibars. It has a lot of moisture with it, but it's not strong. The system, it's widespread, it's large, but it's not really powerful. You can see some rain developing there, some pretty heavy rain across potentially Indiana, Michigan. I'm not going into details here because this is changeable. I'm just trying to show you that there will be an active pattern with many chances of precipitation. Some snow you could see, maybe even from Michigan there, Indiana. Again, this will be a interesting pattern with the sheer amount of precipitation coming in from the west. Towards the long range, it looks as if we get towards the middle part of January. It looks as if we may start getting a colder pattern back, setting up across the North Central United States, and that's expected. However, through that time, I do want to say the total snowfall will still be relatively impressive, assuming a 10-to-1 ratio, which I would say is decently adequate, assuming that the snow won't be falling in very cold air. However, across the Dakotas, you could bump some of these amounts up, but you could see pretty high snowfall amounts across some of these areas. Now, in terms of total rainfall, it's also going to be pretty impressive, especially towards the southern areas here across Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Missouri, Kentucky, maybe into Kansas. It would be nice to see more rain here as it's very dry here, but you can see regardless, it's still a pretty nice rain event for these areas. Again, it's winter. A lot of people may not necessarily like that, but at least it's not going to be, 10 degrees below Fahrenheit. Negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit, which many areas saw here. And you can see out ahead of some of these systems, it could get very, very warm. It's going to feel odd, but I'm not particularly going to hate it. I'm going to get some garden work done this time. I still have some stuff to do, so I'm sure many people will take advantage of this as well. European model, according to, or looking at the European model based on these areas. Let's take a look at this. So again, North Central United States, let's see that pattern. Again, there's that little clipper system. You see that warming trend. You can see it very clearly on here. This high pressure moves to the South Central United States. We see that warm air getting pumped in. So we will see precipitation from these massive beasts across the west, except again, not strong systems. They will be relatively weak. Some a little bit strong. You can see 987. Nothing too incredible though. You can see a rainmaker for the most part, some snow eventually. So again, European pretty in good line with the GFS, showing the general pattern. Obviously disagreeing on individual storm systems, that's not a surprise, we are far out, but you get the memo. Again, towards after the first week of January, you will see some more cold air coming in here, and you could expect some probably more snowier weather going on for what we typically see for this time of the year. But yeah, an incredible potentially precip maker across the areas of the north central United States. Obviously not everyone, right? But again, depending on which model you look at, you can see the European doesn't show much here. The GFS did, so we'll have to wait and see. Regardless, kind of wrapping this up in a few words, storms, not massive, not incredible. I wouldn't say they're dangerous. Mainly rain for the good chunk of folks. However, there will be snow as well, and a lack of cold air, a significant lack of cold air for the majority, maybe excluding the Dakotas and southern Canada here, where there will be some cold air enough to make that snow. Still seasonable though. Let's move on to the south central United States, another area that will be impacted by this pattern. Obviously, not as significantly as I would say even the north central United States, or even, well, obviously not the west. The west is just going to be clobbered by this pattern. Here, it will bring a nice shot of very warm air for the south here. So obviously, right now we've been dealing with cold. It's still going to be cold through the next few days, though really warming up from New Mexico, western Texas, folks living across, western Texas, Amarillo, the Panhandles and whatnot. You guys really will be seeing the warm air pretty quickly. And then even if you live further north, Tuesday, Wednesday, you could see those tight little bars that include strong winds from the south. Some of these temperature anomalies are going to be pretty warm, so that's going to bring temperatures into Oklahoma that saw negatives just a few days ago, especially in the wind chills into 60s, 50s, 70s further south. That's going to be pretty nice. I'm sure a lot of folks, even if you do like the cold, you just got a recent shot of it, this warm up will be pretty nice. So again, the exact details on these storms are going to be a bit particular, especially since they are still a little bit far out, but I'm just trying to give you the general overview of the pattern. So with these systems, there will be cold fronts as they pass through the west and into the Midwest. They develop these cold fronts. Severe weather will be a concern, especially with the amount of warm air that will be pumped into some of these areas. Do note that towards New Year's Eve, we see this cold air kind of moderate, or this warm air. It's not necessarily as intensely being pumped in. Again, it's going to be kind of out ahead of each system. There's going to be a warm up behind it. Not necessarily cool down, but more of a moderation. Again, honestly, with this, we would ideally see more rain across Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska, especially the western areas where it is really dry and they have bad drought. Again, we could see that the GFS still favoring really areas east of Kansas, Oklahoma, and whatnot, but these areas will get a lot of precipitation. So potentially some precip moving in here, really lackluster. It would be nice to see some more here. You can see total snowfall, obviously limited towards maybe the panhandle of Nebraska, maybe into a little bit of Texas right there. We'll have to wait and see. These systems are pretty unprecedented, and the pattern is active. Total precip very heavy towards these areas, not as much towards these, so that would be pretty nice to see a little bit more there. You can see European pretty similar, favoring Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Missouri, Mississippi with the heavy rain, not Kansas or western Texas. And these areas are dry, so that would be nice to see that. However, yeah, you can see kind of stuck in between a massive pattern here and an explosion of weather here, but nothing really here. But for the folks that do live across southeastern Texas, Louisiana, you guys will be seeing a lot of precipitation. Again, for details on each individual storms, I will be keeping you guys updated, but I'm just trying to give you a general overview of the pattern for now, because this is still a little bit away, and again, it's just storm after storm after storm, so it's going to be a chaotic. Northeastern United States, you guys are also going to get obviously impacted by this, but in your own unique way. Right now, cold lake effect, that's your main domination, or main dominating news story. Again, there will be a little bit of snow that moves in if you live across, say, southeastern Canada into Quebec, Ontario, and you live, again, Montreal, Ottawa, all those cities, you'll be seeing a little bit of snow into potentially late Monday to Tuesday, a little snow system coming through. Nothing significant, especially compared to what we've been seeing. Maybe some additional snow moving in on Wednesday for the northern areas here of the St. Lawrence River Valley. And then you can see, again, the GFS shows a lot of warm air for Pennsylvania, New York, so these areas will be experiencing very warm air, even across Canada as well. But the thing is that it's further north, so obviously there's still, even if it's warmer, you can still see snow. So you can see the GFS tries developing some sort of a rain-snow mix here. Again, areas that are stuck on the snowy side of this will pick up some snow. On the rainy side, we'll pick up some rain. Again, don't get too caught up on this. This is still kind of far away. The models are struggling with these systems because they're still offshore. Once they make landfall on the west, we'll probably be more clear on what will occur here. Biggest concern in my eyes is a lot of heavy snow just fell here. The snow melt, the rain that could potentially come with some of these systems will add some flooding concerns, to say the least. Hopefully, though, you can see there's a good area or a good piece of this next week where it's just quiet and warm, so that could melt away pretty easily without too much flooding. Do note that by New Year's Eve, potentially some sort of icy mix, and with all the warm air that's pumped in by this point, I mean, incredible. We don't even see snow on the map, and this is January 1st, so that is just an indicator of how warm it will get here. So expect that most of the snow that you guys are experiencing will be melting here across these areas. Again, there will be some shots of cold air after this, obviously, and potentially a chance of snow, especially with the later systems. But again, how these exactly pan out, we'll have to see. Majority, big news story is warm for the vast majority of this area. There will be a lot of precipitation, mainly in the form of rain, maybe a bit of snow towards northern Canada here, but Virginia, Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, mainly rainfall. With the later systems, as we get into the first week and second week of January, you can see the GFS starts painting some systems that have a lot more snow with it, typical of what you'd see during January. That is a possibility with this pattern, though again, for the short term with these storms, it looks more rain heavy. Towards the long range, maybe some more snow being introduced. So in terms of total accumulated precipitation, you can see it's pretty significant. And again, I guess assuming also a lot of these areas have snow, especially here, some heavier rain wouldn't necessarily be favorable. However, further south here, this shouldn't really be that much of a concern. There isn't much snow. It isn't really too wet either, so that should be absorbed pretty easily. Just some, quite a bit of a pattern change compared to the cold we've been seeing. And again, right now we're dealing with very, very cold air, and you can see how quickly this changes. So this is Monday now, right? Monday quickly warming into Tuesday, into Wednesday. We see those blue colors quickly diminishing. Thursday, you can see those anomalies are very warm. Friday, Saturday, don't be surprised to see some 50s or even 60s across some of these areas. And you can see there could be a few periods, especially right after New Year's, where, ridiculous temperatures for some of these areas. Maryland, 60. Pennsylvania, 60s. Pittsburgh, getting into the 50s, 60s. Again, I'm going to use this to get, my hands dirty in the garden, do some stuff that I had to do and I couldn't finish before winter came in, because, this isn't the end of winter, right? But there's some indications that are growing that mid-January there could be some real cold air moving in, and this is something that you should take advantage of. I mean, 50s across areas that have feet of snow right now on the ground, that's pretty incredible. Again, hopefully we don't see too much rain, because this will melt all the snow. Again, later on you can see cold comes back like it always does during any of these warm-ups, and it may not be incredible, but it definitely comes back, and it's quite a change from what we could be seeing in the next week and a half. Not the ideal winter weather, to say the least, but again, compared especially given what we had, it's a nice little break. So that's the Northeast forecast. Again, European, very similar. Lots of rain for you guys. This only goes out to 240, so it shows a bit less. Still, many areas getting an inch and a half, especially towards southern Canada there. And in terms of the kind of the play out of this thing, I just want to show you how the European model shows. Again, no snow threat of any significance, again, other than that Tuesday, potentially, for southern Canada there, Northeast. And then after that, you could see a warming trend, some big systems bringing mainly rain for everyone, and then again, maybe some snow in some of the future systems later on. Let's move on to the southeastern United States. This is the last region I want to address real quick here. I see real quick because I'm running out of time, unfortunately, but obviously I want to show you guys here because it's cold right now across the southeast. There could even be some snow with clipper snow across Tennessee, Kentucky into tonight. However, we quickly see a warming trend. By Tuesday, Wednesday, most of the cold air is out. We go from cold to seasonal to way above average very quickly. We have this high pressure that sets up here, spinning these winds from the south, bringing in not only the moisture but the warm weather. So quite a bit of a heavy rain threat is brewing across the southeast throughout this pattern. You can see into New Year's, past New Year's, various batches of rain, thunderstorms brewing. Some areas, especially near the Mississippi River here, there could be pretty significant rainfall. And even on days where there isn't large storms, you can see just the sheer amount of moisture hanging around produces some showers and spotty, maybe thunderstorms. More of like a spring pattern or summer pattern as opposed to a winter one. Really incredible, this pattern. And you can see that towards the later part of the forecast, there could be cooler temperatures, but Rainfall amounts will be pretty significant, especially across Arkansas, Louisiana here. Further south and east, though, also pretty significant. And again, don't get too hung up on this because this changes with each model run. European total rainfall amounts also showing quite a bit for these areas. You can see ranging anywhere from 1 to 3, 4, 5 inches. So that is definitely something I want to address. Also, I am a little bit concerned with all this moisture, this warm weather, and these decently significant systems. There could be a severe weather risk. We'll have to wait and see about that. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next episode. See ya. Bye.